Hi lovelies, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to this Freaky Friday reading for Nick Gordon. I want to get straight into this. Please do leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed the reading. Okay. I have Nick's energy here and it's very up and down. I'm getting multiple personalities, and I feel now connected with his spirit and his energy that he was a person who on the earth plane suffered with multiple personality disorder, because one minute he's very agitated and can't sit still and very like here, there and wants to be everywhere, and the next minute he's angry and he's getting quite irate, and then he goes within himself and he's quite sad, and then he's fine and he's happy, and it's all these emotions. And he's saying that even on the other side, he has it confirmed that he did suffer with mental health illnesses, but even on the other side he still hasn't got the hang of it. Nick Gordon's energy to me doesn't feel like he's levitated far from earth, okay, and the only way I can describe that is he hasn't levitated to the realms of spiritual light that spirits do go to. He's still on a very basic level. Nick Gordon is telling me now, he's telling me that his soul was sold. He is saying that there were contracts that were signed, which is why his spirit is at this level. His spirit feels very close to earth. It's a very weird connection, and I have to be honest, I've never had something quite like it, because usually when I connect with spirit, they have elevated. But then Nick Gordon also didn't pass that long ago. He passed on New Year's Day 2020, okay? So he didn't pass that long ago, but his energy feels very dense. It feels very close to the earth. It feels very on the earth plane, okay? So he's still here, right? He's still very much walking earth, and all spirits are still here, but it's hard to describe it. They reach, as we hit different levels of spiritual awakenings on earth, that continues in the afterlife. And Nick Gordon's energy still feels very dense and still here. He's saying, like, I feel that they still have ties to his energy. This is very, oh my goodness, okay. This is going to be a very dark reading, lovelies. There is nothing light about this reading whatsoever, so if that's not for you, switch off now. He is telling me that in terms of sacrifices that were made, his energy, he had to leave his body for them to be able to pull on his energy, and that is why he is so close to earth. I'm going to have to say allegedly, because obviously I'm not looking to get sued. His energy, along with the trilogy that he was a part of, which includes himself, Whitney Houston and Bobby Christina, were a part of a debt that was paid. He has described this to me as the occult, the organizations that be, the people that run the show. He's saying within that, we haven't just got the Illuminati. There are a million different little groups within them, and he's saying the contract in which himself and Bobby Christina and Whitney were in were that group, that organisation, which he keeps saying Clive Davis to me, so he definitely had something to do with this. They were in debt. I do pick up on men around Nick Gordon who were very abusive towards him, calling him names, making him feel uncomfortable, making him feel insecure. He was very withdrawn as a child. He was very introvert, very quiet, very shy, very much low self-esteem, low in confidence, very insecure, and just didn't feel comfortable within himself. And I do feel, and I did confirm and ask him this, that he did battle with his sexuality as a child, and when he expressed this to the people around him, they completely tore him to pieces. I do feel like that's something he really battled with. As he grew up, the pain just within him grew. I feel like he was, very emotionally tormented. I feel like his sibling, and I know he had a brother, and I feel like that's his only sibling. I feel like there was a constant comparison. It's like his brother was the good one. His brother was the one who got all the good grades and got all the achievements and the accomplishments, and he was the one who just faded into the background. He was the bad one, And so he took that on. He took that on from a young age. I feel like from a young age he was mentally not stable. And so he took and absorbed all of this negative energy that he felt towards him, and he carried it with him for his whole life. And he started dealing in with drugs from a young age. He started getting in with the wrong crowd from a young age. Although, you know, he didn't have many friends. His friends were far and few between. The friends that he did make were through drugs and doing drugs and that kind of thing and getting into trouble. And his mum wasn't very nurturing towards him, and I feel like his mum feels a lot of guilt about that now, and felt a lot of guilt about that as an adult, which is why she did appear on the Dr. Phil with him. But as a kid, she was just like, I feel like she really just washed her hands of him and was like, just go find something to do, Nick, yeah? Just go find something to do, just, you're driving me crazy kind of thing. And so he felt very unwanted, okay? And he harbored, there's so much anger and so much emotion and like, you know, I really feel like the frustration, the fury in him of the feeling unwanted, because, you know, he's saying, these people are being horrible to me, these men around me. He keeps saying uncles, uncles, uncles. So I feel like uncles were really nasty to him and abusive. And the mum just rejected him and didn't want to hear what he had to say. And so it just built up in all this like inner anger. And so when he meets this young girl who falls in love in a way that she dotes on him and she depends on him and she needs him, he takes full advantage of that because he's never felt needed before. And he's almost laughing about it, kind of. There's almost like a pride in that, like he took real power in that, like, she needs me. And he's not disagreeing with that. His spirit is here, he's not disagreeing with that. It was a, she needs me. And from this insecure, lonely, sad little boy, that gave him something that he'd never had before, which was power. Okay, and he's saying Whitney and Bobby Christina's home felt very familiar to him because it was full of depression. It was a big old house, but it was so empty. And he resonated with emptiness. You know, lost souls attract lost souls. And they were two lost souls attracting in this lost soul in Nick Gordon. Now, Nick Gordon wants to make it clear that he wasn't recruited in any way by anyone to go in and murder or kill Bobby Christina and Whitney Houston. And I will pull some cards. I say this every time, but I'm you know, this is a channeling reading, so I am channeling his energy. He is basically saying that when he got in, when he started to attend events and people started to see him and the men in suits started to see him, that's when he was approached and contracts were signed. But he is making me aware that Bobby Christina and Whitney Houston had already signed. In the realm of sacrificing and things like that, he's making me aware that it does have to be done in 3. He's also making me aware that you can be part of a different 3. He's not going to tell me much. Honestly, I've tried before I turned on the camera, but he's not going to tell me much. But he's saying Whitney was a part of more than this 3. So she was a part of more than the 3 of Prince. See, Prince. I didn't say Prince. She was a part of Bobby Christina, Nick Gordon and herself. But Nick Gordon's also saying she was a part of another trilogy, which I do believe was Prince, Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston. And Nick Gordon has called that the 3 idols sacrifice. Okay? So he's saying there's different sacrifices that take place, but it's all for being able to store energy. Okay? So it's all about energy. Okay? And other things and money that, you know, you sacrifice over when you're not here anymore and things like that. So, okay. He's saying that the deaths were known and they knew that the deaths were coming. They didn't know when. He's saying we never knew when. He's saying, and I just got crazier and crazier and crazier as the days went on. I became very tormented. We all did. It was a very tormented, toxic, dark situation. Constantly looking over your shoulder, constantly on the edge. He's actually telling me that after the death of Bobby Christina, when her and Whitney had both passed, he's saying I ran. He's actually saying I ran. He's saying he thought that maybe they wouldn't find me. So I don't know if when he passed he was in a place where he wasn't from, if he was in a state where he didn't live, but he's telling me that I ran, I tried to get away. He's also saying the relationship that he went into, he said, I thought that would break the curse. If I connected with someone else, I thought that would break it, but no. He's like, I knew they were coming for me. He's like, and they have me. They have his energy. And I'm gonna be honest, guys, I don't want to stay connected to his energy for too long. I really, really don't. So let's pull some cards. Let me take that. He's saying, well, Pat Houston got the money she wanted. He is saying that. He's saying, and don't be fooled because they were all in on it too. Okay. His relationship, very much like when he got into the house, like he was very much became the man of the house sort of thing, but because he wasn't a man, because he had never had a male role model figure, he didn't even know how to behave. So he was very rude and disrespectful to both Bobby Christina and Whitney Houston, and that's disrespectful and being nice. Okay, he was disrespectful to Whitney Houston. To Bobby Christina, he was abysmal. Okay, and he's saying it now that he abused her. Okay, physical, emotional abuse, allegedly. I have to say that, but he's being honest about it, and he's getting agitated again. He's like, it's like I can feel his energy, just like, you know, it's like every time he recalls it, it's like he just jitters. He's like, you know, and he's nowhere near her now because, like I said, he can't get to that level that they are on, you know, and he is on this. Okay. And he's saying there were so many other more people involved than me. That's what he's saying. He's saying there were so many other people involved in this than me, and we would attend circles and do like rituals and chants and things like that. He's saying this is bigger than you think. He's saying the conspiracies and the stories and the things you've seen, that's only touching the base. There is a whole prophecy, and there's a whole thing that takes place. He's actually linking me back to Kanye West's Sunday service. He's saying you're seeing a little glimpse of it right there in front of your eyes. He's saying some of the rituals and some of the bondage. He's actually calling it bondage. I don't know what that means, but he's saying some of it is so obvious that you won't believe it. You wouldn't believe it if someone told you, like the symbolism and the sacrifice and the energy. And he's saying some of it is so, the brainwashing, some of it is so in your face. It's part of your everyday life to the public. You can't even see it. That's what he's saying. And he's almost, honestly, it's a bit disturbing. He's almost taking pride in that he was a part of that. It's like he liked to be a part of that. He liked to be a part of the bigger picture, okay? So here we have the Ace of Swords reversed, tied to the Magician. This is dangerous. This is dark. This is saying he had all the power, right? Swords energy is power. Power, you know, you go into a battle, you have your sword, but it's reversed. Meaning you're using your power for all the wrong reasons. And it's tied to the Magician. The Magician is about creating a life of our dreams. He used his power and abused it. He took his power and abused it. Okay, and he knows that. He's very, very open and honest about that. You know, there's no two ways about it. He's not pretending that didn't happen. He's very, very honest about it. And there were points in this where he was ready to just take from it what he wanted and get out. We have two cards here that talk about leaving. The Eight of Cups talks about having a change of heart and fleeing. The Six of Swords is practically the same thing. It's about taking from a situation and moving on. He realised very, very quickly in the situation that he'd bitten off more than he could chew. But once you were in, that's it, you're in. He's saying, you know, there was no going back, you know, I couldn't go back. And he is saying he was very much on the streets, for the streets. Like, I feel like Nick Gordon, before he kind of met with Whitney Houston and Bobby Christina, he was doing dodgy things anyway, like drug dealing and things like that. But he's saying, oh, there was no going back to that. They would find me. And I learned that the hard way as well, when I tried to run in the end. So the Page of Swords, obviously, pages are the beginning of a journey. Pages are the youth, They are the immaturity, the innocence, the young. And Page of Swords, he had all this power and didn't have a clue how to use it. So he just abused it, you know. And when he realized, you know, all the emotions that came with it and the responsibilities, and because the Cups is about your emotions and wanting to get out and feeling over your head, and his head, honestly, it felt like it's about to explode. It was just so much every day. So he's just saying, you know, numbing the pain, and he is showing me injections to numb the pain consistently. He's like, I didn't feel anything, and I'm getting so hot. Like, he's like moving around a lot. Six of Swords, again, is about moving on from a situation. The Knight of Pentacles is about money. So we can't talk about the situation without money. Nick Gordon's intention, once he got into the situation, was to wed Bobby Christina and was to get money. Because he did, when he was in it, get very wrapped up in that lifestyle. You know, the flash cars, the nice... This is a boy that came from little to nothing. Okay, and now he's in this lavish lifestyle, living the best life, doing the thing, you know. This is someone who's already lost, and now he's lost in this world, okay? So he got very caught up in that very, very quickly. And he's making... Oh my gosh, this is so... He's saying, no matter how long you sit down with me, it will never be enough, because we will keep unraveling layers to this. But something he's brought Pat Houston's energy in, and he's just basically saying, the reason she didn't like me was not because she thought I was bad for Bobby Christina, was because we were both after the same thing. We both wanted the money. And she said, that's why he said earlier, well, Pat got the money, didn't she? That's why he brought that up. Because he's saying we both wanted that, and she didn't like the fact that I was also coming for the coin. Okay. So what happened after the passings of Bobby Christina, I feel, is that things died down, and Nick didn't hear from the people he was in association with, or that he'd signed the contracts with. And this terminology is put into a language for us so that we can understand, but that's not how it would have been put to him. It's probably not called a contract in this thing that he's dealing with. It's probably called something else. But once he, you know, the people he was dealing with in the organisation, everything, once Bobby Christina and Whitney Houston passed, he fled. He is telling me he ran. And he got out of there because he knew he was next. He knew he was next. He knew he was part of the trilogy, right? Okay, so he knew. This wasn't a shock, but he thought he had escaped slightly because he knew too much. And I want to say, what he's making me feel is this. I feel like when it came to Whitney Houston, they all three of them knew she would pass. I feel like when it came to Bobby Christina, he sold her out. He sold her out. I don't know how, but he did. And I think it was to save himself. And so I think that this is very confusing, I'm not even going to lie. And so I think that when she passed, he was like, right, I'm getting out of here now, I'm done with this. Oh, my business in this is over. And they were like, no, you signed the contract. Just because we told you if you gave us her, that would happen. That you would escape doesn't mean we're sticking to it. You signed with blood. And that's it. And you know too much. You know too much. You think we're going to let you escape knowing what you know. No, you were always going to give us Bobby Christina. You were always going to do that. And you doing that and then running and trying to escape from the pact you made just shows us even more that we can't have you around. Because you can't be trusted. And so he tried to back out of the deal by selling Bobby Christina early, and I feel like what he did, honestly, I feel like this is what happened. I feel like he was very abusive towards her physically, to the point where she couldn't see and she blacked out. I feel like he then fled. I feel like after he put her in that position where she was knocked out unconscious, he then fled. Someone else then came in, did whatever they did, put her in the bathtub. I don't know if Bobby Christina was found with toxins in her, but they were put in her after she passed out, after he knocked her out, and then she was put in the bathtub. But there were more than one person that came in and out of the room, and this is just bigger. Like he's saying, this is bigger. This is not something we're going to clear up, and I'm going to shut the reading and go, well, lovelies, that's that. We understand what happened. No, this would probably be about 10 readings before we get to the bottom of what happened, because he's saying this is centuries old. This is a century-old ritual, and I'm just a little boy who got caught up in the middle of it. And sick thing, he's saying he would do it all again. You have to understand that a lonely boy who felt like nothing all his life, this is his perfect chance to get famous, to be seen, to be someone. And he took it, and he is saying, and I would do it again. So I need to cut ties with this energy. I'm going to end that reading there. If you did for somehow enjoy it, please do hit a thumbs up. And that's it, lovelies. Until next Freaky Friday, I'll see you then. Bye.